Bismillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Loud. Really loud. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and passing salutation upon His Messenger Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him. Before I start, I think my sound is audible to the sisters, yes? Okay, inshallah. So if it's not audible, please the sister make sure that you say to us that it's not audible and you need it to be raised up. For verily, we're going to be inshallah heading towards the chapter of fasting from the book of al-Wajis. But before we do that, we need to make sure that we understand what we are passing through. For verily, we have passed through months like the month of Rajab and now the month of Sha'ban, and that's preparation for the month of Ramadan. And we understand as well that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He had created us and He knew from our creation that we are weak. People who needs all the time, from time to time, reminders, boosters. Those times and boosters, they come through places and through times. From the places where the boosters is, for example, Mecca or the Masjid. Those are boosters. And from the times, from the boosters is the month of Ramadan. The month of Ramadan is a fard ibadah. And every fard ibadah we have, it does have a voluntary, supererogatory that precedes or follows. Just like we have 4 rak'ah dhuhr, 2 sunnah before, 2 sunnah after. Same thing we have that Ramadan is an obligatory. It has a sunnah before month of Sha'ban, sunnah after the month of Shawwal. All of that, they are to prepare yourself for the ibadah. And the sunnah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it for us as, I would say, a blessing. So there is no way, there is no sunnah, you cannot really compensate your missed obligatory. Your missed obligatory, you could repent, but to compensate that, you cannot bring the previous Ramadan, the one that you have missed a siyam, in order for you to compensate. It's gone. You cannot pull the time backwards. And that's where the sunnah comes for the rescue. Where the sunnah substitute, as the Prophet ﷺ, he said, the first thing you're going to be accounted for on the day of resurrection is your prayer. If it's complete, it will be written complete. And if it is incomplete, Allah will say to His angels, take from His voluntary and compensate for His missed obligatory. And then He said, and this is the same for the rest of His ibadah. He said, and this is the same for the rest of His what? Ibadah. So all your worship is the same thing. You look at the obligatory. If it's complete, then it's complete. If it's incomplete, then look at the voluntary to compensate the missed obligatory. Just like that. So the month of Sha'ban is the month, as I said, a month that the person, he prepares himself to Ramadan. This preparation comes in 2 ways. Number 1 is the spiritual. Number 2 is the body, the physical. The spiritual one is that the Prophet ﷺ, he encourages to make a fast. Although the Prophet ﷺ used to fast so much in the month of Sha'ban that he does not fast in any other month like he fasts in the month of Sha'ban, except for Ramadan, he fasts all of it. But the Sha'ban, he fasted so much that he would link it almost to Ramadan. But this fast is conditional, meaning it's up to the 15th of Sha'ban. After the 15th of Sha'ban, it's only for those who has a habitual fast, then they continue. If they haven't got a habitual fast, they have to stop. As for the obligatory fast, then you have to do it before the coming Ramadan. So if you have missed days from the previous Ramadan, then you must do it before the coming Ramadan. So it doesn't matter whether it's before or after the 15th of Sha'ban. As for the vows, also, it's compulsory, then it doesn't matter if you do it after the 15th of Sha'ban. As for the expiation, for example, for an oath, where you haven't got the means to provide for food or clothes for 10 people, forget about the slave, because you haven't got slave to set free, then you go to the second category, which is fasting 3 days. Fasting 3 days also is from the obligatory, so it doesn't matter if you do that fast after the month, after the 15th of Sha'ban. So now we know that this is the physical preparation. Prophet ﷺ wants us to make sure that we stop from the 15th of Sha'ban in order to set aside a flavor for the month of Ramadan. Ramadan is to be distinguished from the month of Sha'ban. Prophet ﷺ, he fasted that month for several reasons. One of those reasons is that month is between Rajab and the month of Ramadan. And because of that, people tend not to pay attention to it. And here people, it's not us. Because us, we are having no awareness even for the month of Rajab, never mind to say the month of Sha'ban. It is the people of the time, the Prophet ﷺ, whether they're Muslims or non-Muslims, they're the like. All of these, even non-Muslims, they used to make sure that those sacred months, one of them is one of them is Rajab, is to be a month that they will make sure they will not make a sin in it. So the people like Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab and all these kuffar, they uphold these sacred months more, unfortunately, than the Muslims they do these days. They're not allowed to unleash an offensive attack. They're not allowed to embark upon a sin. Even to the extent that they want to make an offensive attack, to attack some tribe, and they want to do it in the month of Rajab, they will go to another tribe. Those tribes are specified in giving you a go-ahead that doesn't matter, this month of sacred month is being postponed. So they will, for example, the tribe of Quraysh will attack another tribe, will go to this tribe, and it's called the Nasi, the delaying tribe, the one that was delayed. And they will ask them that we want to go ahead and invade, so they'll pay in whatever money, and they'll give a written, piece of agreement that if they start now the fight in the month of Rajab, which is a sacred month, all the Arabs will tell them off. Why did you do that? It's a shame. They'll say, well, we've got a contract from this tribe to say that this month of Rajab is not month of Rajab anymore. It's been postponed. So it doesn't matter whether they do this or not, but they do give importance and attention to it. Whereas these days the Muslim would fight. Do you think that they're really caring about the month of Rajab or the month of Muharram? They don't care. They invade one another, Muslims. They don't really say, oh, this is the month of Rajab, we should not really start the fight. Because they date themselves with the Christian dates. The Arab, they don't know except for the Muslim dates. They don't know this date of month of April or March. The Arabs used to know what? The month of Muharram, Safar. These months are there for the Arabs, whether Muslims or non-Muslims at that time. So they used to call it Rajabu Mudar. Mudar is a tribe. And Rajab is for Mudar. Mudar means the tribe used to really care about the month of Rajab. And Rajab is the word Tarjib. Tarjib means ta'zeem, to uphold this month to be in a great status. So the Prophet ﷺ, because of that, people tend to forget about Sha'ban, because it's between the best of the month of Ramadan and Rajab. That's why he fasted. And also, the deeds are lifted up. And the Prophet of Allah, he likes his deeds to be lifted up by his fasting. Also, the Prophet ﷺ, according to some of the scholars like Ibn Hajar, he says that Husn al-Mu'ashar, the Prophet of Allah is to encourage his wives, whom they hadn't got the chance to compensate for their missed Ramadan until the following Sha'ban. And for that reason, the Prophet of Allah is helping along. So his fast is increased because of those issues. When your husband is fasting, then he helps you to fast along with him. And that is why the Prophet of Allah has said, fast the month of Sha'ban. And this is for the physical preparation. As for the spiritual one, is that the month of Sha'ban comes like a self-preparation, sin expiation for the month of Ramadan. The night of mid-Sha'ban, which is the Shabar Barat or something like Shabar Barat, I think, in Urdu. And I'm saying it because the Muslims from that community, whether they are Pakistani or Indian, actually they uphold that night more than the Arabs, for example. The Arabs don't really have that much importance for that night. And the ones who are hooked to that night, unfortunately, not just the Brahmins, and even the Dawandis. So that's an opportunity for me to ask you as well, what did the Dawandi Masjid did here? Because the Dawandi Masjid in Luton, they hired 2 coaches, and I've got them a picture here, to go and take the people to the graveyard, to the cemetery on the night of the midnight of Sha'ban, which is not yesterday night, the night before. Did they do that here? So, unfortunately, as I said, the Dawandis, they make these bid'ah. Bid'ah number 1, that they go to the cemetery in that night. Bid'ah number 2, they make a ibadah, a qiyam on that night. I'm sure they do that. It's a qiyam, like a special prayer for that midnight of Sha'ban. I'm pretty sure they do that. But I was not really sure about the cemetery. I was really shocked, that they have as well the share, and they've got this common ground between them and the Brahmins. And the third one is the fast. The fasted day, which is the 15th. So yesterday for them, everybody was fasting. Even the kids to fast. At the school where I teach my son there, and the Davandis, they forced even the children, for example, 14, 15, along with them to fast the midnight, or the midday, which is the 15th, following the midnight. I was really as well surprised with that. No fast, no qiyam, no any special ibadah for that night. You do nothing. But basically the person needs to make sure that he does not commit shirk, whether on that night or before it or after it. But there's an emphasis, and also not to hold any grudge towards the brothers, whether before or after, or on that night. But this is to encourage you. So if you think you're going to just do the reconciliation between your brothers, on that night, on the following day you can't go back to what you've been doing, punching him or spitting on him or whatever, and this is not really actually what is being meant from the hadith. Or if you think it's just like a message being passed on WhatsApp from one person to another, please forgive me, just before the midnight of Sha'ban, because Allah will forgive to everybody except for the person who's got malice or got shirk. These messages as well from the bid'ah, because it's not really a message which is intended to the person whom you have a quarrel. No, it's a message passing by, please forgive me, I've never seen the guy, I've never talked to the guy, forgive me for what? So it's, unfortunately, it's a bid'ah spreading around. If the person has got some dunya dispute between him and the brother, I'm talking a brother as in Islam. As for the blood brother, he's got more rights and priority to fix yourself with him. And I would say to you, inshallah, that WhatsApp message is not really right. Make salam to him. You're not expected to give more than the salam. You want more than salam, alhamdulillah. Salam is the one. Salam with a smile, that's enough. A person you haven't talked for a long time, you're not expected to go and hug him and invite him and all of that. But salam will start all of that. So once you say salam, alhamdulillah, everything would come to terms, inshallah. So that's we call it the spiritual preparation for the month of Ramadan. So I'm ready to make my Ramadan a Ramadan which is distinguished from all other Ramadans. Ramadan which is for the ibadah. It is wrong for the parents to teach their children that this month of Ramadan is a month where the person remembers the poor people. It's a month where the person, he gets hungry to know how hungry people feel. It's not right. We have to really make sure that our children understand that the Ramadan is a ibadah, submitting to the will of Allah. Because once you just give these things to the child, then the child will not respect what is ibadah. It will be empty from its core, from its essence. The ibadah is ibadah. It's to submit to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I have to have that sort of sweetness when I do the ibadah. I feel I'm doing it. It's not because I want to, for example, be on diet, because dieting, or for example, I want to, be hungry like the hungry people. It's a ibadah. And it's linked from time to time. If it's to do with the hungry, then we'll make you more hungry, not just from morning until sunset. We'll keep you hungry till you suffer. There's nothing to do with it. These are things which are beside the point. The point is that we are doing ibadah. I'm not talking about the fruit of the siyam. I'm talking why we do the siyam. It's a different answer, different question. Why? It's not the fruit. The fruit of the siyam is the taqwa of Allah. As I said, we are there's a misapproach here to the ibadah of the siyam by lots of people. Where some people, parents ask, well, how can I explain to my children about the siyam? We will tell them about the fuqara and the needy and all of that. But this is not the siyam. No, siyam I need. If I believe in Allah, and Allah is my Lord, then whatever He tells me, regardless if I know that this is for this is for that, and this is the hikmah, regardless of that, I will do it. I'll submit to it. That's the ibadah. Submit without any hesitation, without any, you could say, objection. Nothing. No question, no objection. Submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is He your creator? You submit. So, when the school impose upon the children a dress code, I mean, this dress code is unquestionable. Do they tell them, we want to look smart? Some of these, outfits really looks horrible, stupid. School, but there's no negotiation. They don't open the question, or the child, we dress you up like this. And he does not have the opportunity to question. He just wants to submit. And he puts the dress code. Otherwise, he'll be kicked out of school. So this is the Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It's not a school that can be wrong. And, they can change their mind later on, isn't it? On the outfit. Maybe it's not good enough. But this is Allah, which is universal law. Does not change. So if I do the fact, then I have no hesitation to submit without questioning to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. By this, alhamdulillah, as an introduction, regarding the month of Ramadan, we go to the chapter, as we had promised you 2 weeks ago. We're going to start the book of Siyam from the book of Al-Wajiz. So we're going to make a gazelle jump, a deer jump, from where was it? We left it last time. It's in somewhere in the prayer. Yes? Yeah. So how many pages are you going to jump now?
Page 88.
From jumping from 88. Is it 88?
No, it's not.
No, you're not right. I'm going to say. Anybody can help?
No, 97
From 97
to 257.
so it's about 150. No, 157. Yeah? That's a huge jump. Don't worry, we'll go back once we finish chapter of Siyam. So, without any further delay, please try to read. And sometimes I'm going to stop and I skip myself. I need to finish the chapter. I believe that maybe 2 weeks' time it will be the first of what? Ramadan. It could be the first of Ramadan. It could be the 29th, the 30th of Sha'ban, 27th. So either in 2 weeks' time. So if it is the 30th of Sha'ban, definitely there's a class. If it is the first of Ramadan, then that's up to you to decide. If you want to go ahead, we could go, for example, make a small iftar, so we could really have the class an hour and a half before the iftar. The iftar is a moment. You could say 2 weeks' time, about 8:45, okay? And we'll push it into 9:30 later on. So if we start, for example, from 8 o'clock, instead of 7:30, 8, we'll have the talk for an hour and a half. Then after that, we're ready for the iftar. So it's up to you what you decide, inshallah. But definitely, if it is the 30th of Sha'ban, we're going to have a class, inshallah. Alright? Fine. Okay? Right. Kitab al-Siyam. I think you read this whole already, yes? For this whole. From Wednesday, anyway. Regardless. Very good. Follow.
Chapter 4. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam taslima kathira. Tonight is the 16th of Sha'ban. Now we're going to continue with Al-Wajiz, chapter 4, fasting, on page 257. The ruling of the fast. Fasting the month of Ramadan is one of the pillars of Islam and one of its obligatory acts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyamu kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. O you who believe, observing the fast is prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, that you may become the pious. Shortly afterwards, Allah also says, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم. The month of Ramadan, in which was revealed the Quran, a guidance for mankind, and clear proofs for the guidance and the criterion between right and wrong. So whoever of you is resident during the month must observe fast. Ibn Umar radiallahu anh narrated that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Islam is built upon 5 pillars, testifying that there is none worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad is the Messenger of Allah, establishing the prayer, giving the zakah, making the pilgrimage to the house, and fasting the month of Ramadan. All of the Muslim nations has agreed that it is obligatory to fast the month of Ramadan, and that is one of the pillars of Islam. It is something that is known about the religion by necessity. The one who rejects it as a practice is a disbelieving apostate who has left the fold of Islam.
That's an introduction, and as I said, I'm going to skip some of the introductions as well with my own recitation, or my interpretation and translation. The ruling of the Siyam of Ramadan is to be a pillar, and it is compulsory. And he quoted the verse, and he quoted the hadith, and then he's quoted as well the ijma', the consensus of the companions. That's the consensus of all of the companions, that it is to be one of the pillars of Islam, and is known by the religion from necessity. That means once you become a Muslim, it is known to you that prayer is obligatory, fasting is obligatory. So no way that if a person was to be brought in an Islamic state in order to be punished regarding the fast, and we say to him, why are you not fasting? I didn't know that fasting in Ramadan is compulsory. That will not be acceptable from him. Unless he lives not in the city, he lives, for example, on his own, in those areas. Is it rural or urban? Rural areas, outside the cities. In the rural areas, that's the one maybe we'll give him the excuse. Otherwise, it's no excuse. In terms of its virtues, the Siyam, fasting, even the non-Muslim, they know that these days Siyam is very, very healthy. And some of the reports which I've read, they're talking about fasting which is from the dawn to the sunset, subhanAllah, which is the fast of the Muslims. They know how beneficial it is. But in terms of virtues in religion, indeed, Prophet of Allah ﷺ, he says about the Siyam, he fasts one day for the sake of Allah, then Allah will put a distance between him and the hellfire, trench, distance between heavens and earth. Or, another hadith, he will make his face away from the fire 70 years. That's the virtues of the fast. As for the virtues of Ramadan, plenty. One of them is he who fasts Ramadan, believing in it, and believing it's obligatory, and submitting it's obligatory from Allah, believing in it. Believing it is ordained by Allah to be compulsory upon every male, adult, resident, healthy, and having no and the women in their menses. So this is compulsory, he knows it, and he knows that this is for his own sake. Allah does not need your fast. You need your fast. And ihtisab, hoping for the reward from Allah. So when you make the fast, you're not really asking for people's money or people's attention, you're asking for Allah's pleasure. Ihtisab. Ihtisab as a person, when he fasts, he is into the fast. Not a person which is the opposite of ihtisab. When he comes to the last moment to break in his fast, he keep looking at the clock and start counting down. 5, 3, 2, 1, and then he goes into the food. And he starts eating like an animal. Not like a human being, an animal. Quickly. That's not really the fast which is intended for. And then he says, if you do that, all the previous sins will be forgiven. Another hadith from Abu Hurairah, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Allah the Almighty, he said, all the acts of son of Adam is for him, except for fasting. That means all the acts of son of Adam is going to be rewarded. It's for him, because when you do the salah, you're being seen by the people. If you do the hajj, you're being seen by the people. If you pay charity, you'll be seen by the people. But the fast, nobody knows if you're fasting or you're not fasting. Nobody knows. You could claim that you're fasting, but you're not going to be going to the people every morning, I'm fasting. You don't do that. But the prayer in itself, as soon as you're praying, So when I ask a person, have you seen this person praying? Do you know this person praying? He said, I've never seen him praying. So you know. If I ask him, this person fasting, he said, oh, I don't know. How can I know? Unless, as I said, crazy man, he would hang in his neck a big plate of food and say, see, look, I'm not eating. I mean, nobody would do that. So the fasting is between you and your Lord. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is going to recompense you for that. Something which has nothing to do with 10 multiple hasanat, 700. This is maths. No, this has nothing to do with this. Allah will give you something special. But the one who does this, also, the one who's, Prophet said, Allah said, the Prophet said, As-siyamu junnah. Fasting is a shield. In the dunya and the hereafter. If the person fasts, then he should fast also from the obscenity. Not just fast from the food and the drink and the sexual intercourse. That's the fast. You fast from the food, drink and sexual intercourse. From the morning until sunset. Let him not say foul language. Let him not to revile the one who reviled him. Except to say, I'm fasting. By the one in whose hand is the soul of Muhammad, the bad smell that comes out from the fasting person's mouth is better with Allah than the fragrance of musk. Fasting person, he has 2 times of joy. When he is happy, breaks his fast, is happy, and when he meets his Lord, he's happy. And from this hadith as well, we could say that some of the people take the month of Ramadan for them is the month of food. As soon as Ramadan comes in, comes to his mind now all the types of food that he didn't have the whole year. Or special sweets like samosas and some of them ruh afza. It comes to their mind, Ramadan, this is Ramadan for them. Ruh afza and samosas and I don't know, maybe what's that called? Jalabi. So just the month of Ramadan for those things. So he's waiting for the month of Ramadan to drink that drink, and that's for them. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to have food in the month of Ramadan, but I'm just saying don't let go of your empty stomach, which is not empty yet, to start signaling commands to the brains, and your brains and your heart becomes a slave of your what? Your stomach. I want a kebab that never been seen and smelled before, and I want this. So the stomach is sending messages, and you're becoming like a slave of your own stomach. And then you bring a lot of food into the tray, and most of it is not going to be eaten. That's not really right. But the time of the Prophet ﷺ, companions, Prophet of Allah himself used to have water and what? Dates. Water and dates is not, it's not supposed to be the only food there. I mean, if I tell the kids, I'm going to ask Tamim, you're fasting this month, aren't you? Sure. Okay, just be truthful to me. If I tell you that you're breaking the fast today only on dates and water, would you be happy? Come on, tell the truth. Only dates and water. Don't be scared of your father. Would you be just happy? Come on. What about Thawban?
I don't like dates.
Straightforward. So you would not be happy, would you? Just dates and water. You wouldn't want samosas and ruh afzas and all of that. Thank you very much, Jazakallah khairan for being honest. What's your name? Tayyib. If your father said to you, today you're breaking the fast only on dates, you're going to be happy? In Ramadan. Because if you say, I'm happy, I'm going to tell your father, give you dates all the time. Would you be happy?
Kind of.
Diplomat.
He's playing his card right.
I like dates.
Yeah, but it's going to be dates only, nothing else.
The dates are nice.
Just dates. Do you think you're going to be happy? Or just dates, nothing else. You're not allowed to have any food. I don't think you're going to take that, can you? Yes, let's be truthful. So what the Prophet said, he would be happy when he breaks his fast. It's not just for the dates, he's happy for lots of things there. But as I said, extra. I want to ask the brothers if you have heard about this. One of the shuyukh scholars, students of knowledge. He sent something to me on WhatsApp, which I'm not sure about. Just want to share it with you. But regarding this, the Muslims to make sure that they are really struggling with food, he said that in Germany, Hamburg, is it Hamburg city there called Hamburg?
Yeah, in Germany.
There was a person, who was a Muslim, he came with his friend inside a restaurant which is small, there's a table there, there's only two people there. These two people, the couple, they have just only a small dish and some drink. So one of the guys, the Muslim, said to the other, well, why are they coming to the restaurant having that little thing? So they sat on the table and they started asking, making orders. And they had orders, and then when they're about to leave, they left some portion of the food in the plate. Like the Muslim, they do. They don't eat everything. So one of the old ladies came, and she started speaking to them in German. He didn't understand a word. And then, then after that, they've been trying to say, what's wrong? What's up to you? I paid my food anyway. What are you really mourning about? But she was not really satisfied, and then she brought the manager of the restaurants. I don't know if that's true or not, because I have my doubts anyway. And then they have called on to the people who are in charge, like authorities of Tamween, something like to provide food. And they gave them a fine because they haven't really finished their food. I don't think this is true, is it? Do you think this is like forget about it's a scholar who said it. But have you heard about this? And there is
It might be a council, like a local council thing, yeah.
Local council, that they will find the people who does not eat the food they become order. That is really, for me, over the top. I mean, I could take from the story what he's trying to say, that if this is the kuffar, what they're doing, so what about the Muslim who wasting the food? But to say that this is in Hamburg, I have to ask Hamburg people who eat hamburger. So you never heard of this?
No.
That supports my own thought. Allahu A'lam. Right. Prophet ﷺ, he says, verily in Jannah there is a gate called the Rayyan. Only the fasting people will enter through it. And fasting of the Ramadan is compulsory as soon as we see the crescent. Prophet ﷺ said, Sumu bi ru'yati, fast when you see it. Wa aftiru bi ru'yati, and fast and break the fast when you see, that means that you end Ramadan when you see the crescent of Shawwal. If you are not able to see it because of clouds or anything, then make sure that Sha'ban is 30 days. So we understand from the following. Number one is that there are months in Islamic calendar which are emphasized in the cycle. There are 3 months. The month of Ramadan, the month of Dhul Hijjah, and the month of Sha'ban. Sha'ban for the sake of knowing when Ramadan. Ramadan for the sake of fasting and knowing when the Eid. And the 3rd month is the month of Dhul Hijjah for the Hajj, Day of Arafah, and also for the Eid al-Adha. These are 3 months, are emphasis on their sighting. Prophet ﷺ said, make sure that you know Sha'ban. So when the Prophet of Allah comes in Sha'ban, he knows which day it is, because he had double-sighted it. And then on the 30th night, people come out to sight the what? The moon for Ramadan. If they see it, then the following day is the 1st of Ramadan. It's not the 30th of Sha'ban. If it doesn't come out, or they did not see it because there's a cloud there, then the following day is the 30th of Sha'ban. Even though the calculation says 100% that the moon is out, we don't really depend upon the calculation of the maths. All of this calculation or astronomical calculation, we don't really pay attention to it. It might help. So it tells us, for example, yes, the moon is, but I'm not going to make my fast until I see it. And this is very important. So we have to see it with our own naked eyes, without the help of planes. So it is as well ru'ya ardiyya, it's from the earth. I have to see it from where? From the earth, without the aid of telescopes, microscopes, whatever you want to call them. with the own عين مجرد, I could say, because نحن أمة أمية. We are a little ummah. See, don't see it, خلاص. So this is the first thing. The second thing, or the third thing, we said the first thing is regarding that we should emphasize the sighting of Sha'ban. Second thing is that it has to be with our own eyes. The third thing is that we need to make sure that the sighting is done by it is done, and then one person is enough. So one person is enough. So it's one person is enough. But this person has to have adl. What is adl? Adl, besides being a Muslim, he has to be an adult, and also he has to be not committing major sins or insisting upon minor sins. So he's not doing major sins, the adl, and not insisting, keep doing, he insists to do the minor sin. So is Muslim adult but he's alcoholic? No. Muslim adult is a fornicator? No. Muslim adult, he does small lies. Like when he talks low and he keeps doing it, it's not adl. Okay? And when we say Muslims, for example, the person who shaves his beard, that's a major sin. So it's not really adl. Second, so this is to do with adl. Second issue as well with the adl, he has to have good sighting. So if he's not having good sighting, how can we accept his sighting? Like Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, he had an old man, old, coming to him that he saw the moon. All the ones who had been sent to see the moon, none of them had come up with this vision except for this old man. So when he went with him to the place where he saw the moon, and he saw like a light, but it's not the moon. And then where's the crescent coming from? And he looked at the eye of that person, the old man. From his eyebrows there was a single hair flowing down onto his eyes where you could see like a crescent from his single hair. So this man hasn't got good sight. So he thinks that hair is a what? Crescent. So the person has to have good vision. So if somebody's blind, he said, I've seen the moon. I'm probably blind, how can you see the moon? You felt it? Or very weak vision, you can't see it. Abdullah ibn Umar, radiyallahu anhuma, one Ramadan, he himself saw the moon, nobody else. So he told the Prophet, Prophet of Allah, straight away. Abdullah ibn Umar is just adl. He makes the people to fast following day. Now, Abdullah ibn Umar, let's discuss how old he could be. The month of Ramadan became compulsory on the second year of Al-Hijrah. Second year after Hijrah, it became what? Compulsory. Before that, it was not compulsory. Ramadan became compulsory in the second year after Hijrah. So from the second year, okay, the Prophet ﷺ, until the 10th year, those 8 years where we had Ramadan. After that, Prophet died. How old was Abdullah ibn Umar from the day that Ramadan became compulsory until the day when the Prophet ﷺ died? In order to understand that he said that the people were seeing the moon and I saw it and I came to the Prophet. Abdullah ibn Umar, he says, in the battle of Uhud, I came to participate in the battle. Look at the children. Boys, I want to make jihad. I came to be participating in the battle. But I was 13 years old. Prophet of Allah did not let me go. In the battle of Al-Khandaq, the trench, I was 15 years old, because it was 2 years later. And I was 15 years old. Prophet of Allah let me go. Like Umar, he could have been adult on the 13, because the adulthood is either by wet dream, or pubic hair, or reaching the 15, or the menses for the woman. These are four signs. 3 signs are common between male and female. That is, again, wet dream, pubic hair, and 15. 15 means finishing 15, Islamically, lunar system. And another sign which is singled out for the woman, if one of these, which is the menses. If one of these signs come, then you are an adult. Prophet did not ask him, do you have a wet dream or what the age? So he was 13. He was not allowed to participate in the Battle of Uhud. When the Battle of Uhud took place? In Sha'ban, the year 3 after Hijrah. So how old Abdullah ibn Umar in the first Ramadan when it was compulsory? How old was he? Yalla Ismail. I just gave you a very simple question.
He was 12.
He was 12 years old. He was 1 year younger. He was 12. He's a kid. When the Prophet ﷺ died, how old was he, Talha?
63.
No, not the Prophet. Abdullah ibn Umar. I gave you the calculation. Very easy. Think. Because he gave me when he was 12 years old, when he was second year after Hijrah, when the first Ramadan came compulsory. Prophet died 8 years later. How old is he now? Just 8 plus 12. 8 plus 12. 8 plus 12, how much?
18.
8 plus 12. Again, Talha, think.
Oh,
What did you give him for food today?
16.
8
12.
plus 12. Talha,
Old.
are you sure you know maths?
Yeah, 18 is it?
8 plus 12 is 18.
18.
8 plus 12 is 18. Let's
Oh, 20. I was doing it wrong.
Inshallah. When I put somebody on the spot, maybe you start shaking. Okay, he was 20. Now, definitely it was not the last year of the Prophet when he died. So he was a teenager. Abdullah ibn Umar, when he sighted them when he was a teenager. One sighting was enough. Now, if it happens to me that you are in a Muslim country and you had seen the moon, 100%, even you recorded with your own mobile, you went to the court, but the court did not take your verdict, even with that recording of yours, because they have got their own as well sighting. None of it will come except for you. What should I do now? Should I fast? Or should I abide myself with the court decision, which is the day after, and it's tomorrow the 30th of Sha'ban? And the Prophet said, you're not allowed to fast the day of doubt, which is the day of doubt is the 30th of Sha'ban. It could be Ramadan, it could be Sha'ban. Should I fast? I've seen the moon. Should I fast? You didn't answer the question. Should I fast? I've seen the moon. I have seen the moon. I went to the court. Court didn't accept my hand. So then even look. The court decided not to take my verdict, and they want to make it tomorrow, the 30th of Sha'ban, not the 1st of Ramadan. Should I fast tomorrow? Okay, that's the answer. No. I should not fast tomorrow. I'm not going to be making my own Ramadan. The same thing for the moon of the Eid. Shawwal. I cannot make my own Eid and stuff. Allahu Akbar, and everybody doing the Eid the following day. You can't do that. Eid is everybody will make Eid. Ramadan is everybody make Ramadan. Masruq, one of the followers, and he came to the Umm al-Mu'minin Aisha radiallahu anha. And it was on the day of Arafah. So she honored him, she gave him food and all of that to Masruq, and Masruq started eating. And most of the people the day of Arafah, they're not Hujjaj, pilgrims, they are what? Fasting. Because fasting the day of Arafah expiates how many years? 2. So why Masruq is eating? Well, it's a voluntary fast anyway, but he wanted to give an excuse. He said, the reason I'm not fasting today, because I'm expected to be fasting. I can't miss that day, the night of Arafah. 9th day of the Hijjah, 9th Arafah day. The reason I'm not fasting is that maybe today is the day of, it could be the day of An-Nahr. He is doubting, maybe he had seen the moon the night before, that the people seen it, So instead of the 9th, the 30th, the 10th, which is the Eid al-Adha, you're not allowed to fast. It could be the Eid of Eid, that's why. She said to him, the Eid of the Qurban and the Adha, when everybody makes al-Adha, not you on your own. Do you understand that? So the day of Adha is for Adha for everybody, not Adha for Masruq on his own. The Eid of the Fitr, and everybody makes Fitr on their own, together. The Eid of the Ramadan, everybody can do it together. Can't make your own Ramadan, can't make your own Eid, can't make your own sacrificial. So it's divided by the Jama'ah. But if you are in a place, no communication, except for yourself, okay, and you see the moon, then you abide with your side. No problem. So you abide with it, because you're not with the people. You're not with the people. Alhamdulillah, now I've finished, because I'm translating as well, lots of things, so you can really go ahead now to the upon whom it is compulsory. But before we go there, for verily, as for the month of Shawwal, 2 witnesses are needed. Why 1 witness for Ramadan, 2 witnesses for the Eid? Well, because all the hadith talks about 2 witnesses, even for the beginning of Ramadan. But because 1 hadith or 2 specify that 2 to 1, which is Abdullah ibn Umar, we say, okay, 1 for the beginning and stays the general hadith, 2 for the rest. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Upon whom to compose. Now,
upon whom it is compulsory. The scholars are in agreement that the fast is obligatory upon every sane, adult, healthy, non-travelling Muslim. In addition, women must also be pure of menses and postpartum bleeding. As for the fast not being obligatory upon those who are not sane or the adult, the Prophet ﷺ said, the pen recording the deeds has been raised and is not recording for 3. The one who is sleeping until he awakens, the child until he reaches the age of puberty, and the insane one until he becomes sane. It not being obligatory upon those who are not healthy or who are not resident is based on Allah's words, فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. But if any of you is ill or on a journey, the same number should be made up from other days. If the ill person or traveller do fast, that fast would suffice them, as the permission for them to break their fast is simply an exemption. If they follow the regular non-exemption ruling, that is fine. However, what is better for them, to break the fast or to fast? If the ill person or traveller do not find any hardship in fasting, then fasting is preferred. If they encounter hardship, then breaking the fast is preferred. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri stated,
before we go to Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, I don't know, did it talk about the child? No, it does not talk about the child. Right. Yeah, the scholars, they said it is fasting is compulsory upon Muslim, that means a non-Muslim, no fast on him. If they fast with us, it's not going to be rewarded for them. The sane, so the insane, majnoon, is not going to be accountable for what he does. Third one, the Vale, which is the adult. The children, we're going to talk about them in a minute, inshallah. It's not going to be accounted, they're not being asked for making it, but they're going to be rewarded for doing it. And the person who is healthy, if he's not healthy, then we will discuss whether his health is chronicle or non-chronicle. And then resident, the traveller, he has the option to break his fast. As for the woman, she may not fast if she is in her menses or postnatal blood, that is after the birth. He says about the insane and about the adult, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the pen has been raised from 3. One of them is the person who is insane until he's sane, and the person who is child until he reaches adult. But regarding the child, the parents or the guardians of the child, they should make the child or command him to fast as long as he is able to do it, in order to train himself on the fast. This is very important to know that. So it is incumbent upon the person to command their children if they are capable of fasting, to fast. Even they could start for half a day, 3/4 of a day. Because of the Sahaba did that. Prophet ﷺ, when he had the revelation to say to him that the day of Ashura is to be compulsory. That was at the beginning, before the obligation of Ramadan. It was in the year second after Hijrah. The 10th of Muharram was compulsory. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said to the people, he sent an announcer. And the announcer saying, he who has broken his fast and eaten from the morning, from the dawn, then let him abstain. And for those who are fasting, then let him continue their fast. So she said, we used to fast the day of Ashura, and also we used to make our children fast along with us. We will make them the toy made of, or the doll made of wool. Every time they cry for food, we give them that doll in order to take their mind away from the food until it is time for breaking the fast. So we make them a toy, a doll made of wool. Every time they cry for the food, we give them that toy in order to keep their mind away from the food until they break the fast. Until the time of breaking the fast. As for as I say, he says, the person who is non-healthy and he is not resident, traveler, and this is the ayah, وَمَنْ كَانَ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخْرَى. Now, marid or ala safar. Now the marid, the ill, the person who is ill, illness is of two types. Illness which is chronical and illness which is non-chronical. The chronical illness is the long-term illness. And this is going to discuss it inshallah along with the old man and the old woman. But the non-chronical illness, like a flu or whatever, then you compensate straight away after you are able to do the fast. So once you finish your illness, then you compensate. You don't wait, you compensate. And the illness has no, you could say, set point to it. You cannot go to the doctor, please can you tell me, doctor, measure my illness if I'm able to break my fast or not to fast Ramadan. There's no such thing. But any illness which entail the following. Number one, delay the cure. Number two, prolong the illness. Number three, the fear. The fear it will cause more illness, so it will definitely will prolong the illness if you fast, or definitely will delay the cure if you fast. Okay, or the fear of the illness will get bigger, then this person may break his fast. So some people got flu, they'll break the fast. Some they say, flu is nothing. Because it depends how big is the flu and how big is the guy to take the flu. Just like Allah had attached illness to journey, then we can understand the same thing that we don't have a meter for illness, we don't have a meter for what? A journey. There's no such thing, a journey which is distance or metered by 81 kilometers or all that. Just like the illness is general, traveling is what? General. Whatever the people call traveling, it's traveling. Whatever people call no traveling, it's not traveling. So depending upon the time, the distance, the transport and all of that. Because at the time of the Prophet of Allah, 3 miles is a journey. And 3 miles you come out of the city. Here it goes 50 miles still in the city. London, and they're still within the city, 50 miles. You can't be calling, I'm traveling from the East London to West London. Don't say traveling. You're going from East London to West London. So, this is the journey. And the person who is on a journey, is it for him better to break off his fast or to fast? That's the question. Well, first of all, we need to know the following. That it is haram upon the person to believe that concession is no good. Allah has given you concession for the person who is traveling to break his fast. So it's haram, it is not allowed. You are a sinner if you don't really take that concession. It's to be a concession. So if you believe that, there shouldn't be a concession. Prophet ﷺ in Ramadan, he was going to Mecca, and the whole people with him, they were fasting. When he arrived, a place called Qara' al-Ghamim, and it was after Asr, only a few hours, maybe 1 or 2 before Maghrib. People came to him and said, Messenger of Allah, there are people fasting because you're fasting, and they're really finding it so difficult. Prophet on top of the camel took the cup of water and he drank it in front of everybody. When? After the what? The Asr. So the companions, straight away, they drank. Some of them, they did not. When the Prophet was informed, he said, they are the sinners. Ulaika al-usat. They are the sinners. Why the sinners? Because they don't believe in the concession. But if the person, he believes in the concession, but he wants to fast, is no problem. Because the hadith, which is, I stopped at him to read it, hadith Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, that we used to make a fight with the Prophet along with the Prophet in Ramadan. So some of us are fasting, some of us are not fasting. But if you are meeting the enemies, fasting is haram. So when the enemies engaged with you in the battle, fasting becomes what? Haram. Because the person who's a soldier, he has to have what? Full concentration. So it is not allowed when you yaltaqi as-saffin, that is to be fasting. But if it is not, you're not really meeting that, you're just telling strategy, it's no problem to be fumble the fast in the journey. So the person who's fasting, he will never bully the one who is not fasting. And the one who is not fasting, we will not go to the fasting person and say to them, you are extremist and you are, whatever, why should you fast and all that. So both will accept one another. The one who's fasting and the one who's not fasting. So the person who's got finding power in the fast, it's better for him to fast. Because who guarantees for him he's going to be making up for the fast? Okay? So it's better for him to fast. But the second issue now, it is haram also that if you are harmed through the fast of compulsory Ramadan, to keep fasting while you're on a journey. So if you are on a journey and the fast affected you to the extent you're going to harm you, it's the same exactly as a doctor is telling the patient, if you fast, you're going to be harmed. And he's fasting and he's already collapsing. One day the Prophet ﷺ on a journey, he saw a bunch of people together. And he saw a man underneath a tree with the people, and they're throwing water on him. What's happening? What's wrong with this man? He said, Messenger, he's fasting. He said, لَيْسَ الْبِرُّ الصِّيَامُ السَّفَرِ. It's not righteousness to fast while you're traveling. So if you think there's righteousness, more reward to fast while you are traveling, this is not right. And he told him to break his fast, so they gave him the water to drink. So what he was doing, he was actually what? Surrounded by people, and underneath the tree, the shade, and they're throwing water on him to cool him down. It's hot. And it says that it's really hot in trouble. It's not like here. Very hot. And you are here, mashallah, fortunate that you really don't have the heat and all of that to dehydrate you. Also, at the time, the Prophet ﷺ and Umar al-Khattab and Abu Bakr, the journey, when he told them to come and eat, they said, we're fasting. He was unhappy with their fast, but he told them, okay, if you fast, don't put burden on other people to start serving you because you're fasting. So if you think you're going to be, making a sort of a hidden, implicit plead with the people that, because I'm fasting, you should really now wash the cups for me and get me ready because I'm fasting. Break the fast and be like us. So don't have an edge on us because you're fasting in the journey. Do you understand me? So don't you think that we should really serve you because you're fasting. And every time that we're going to cook food, leave some food for the guy. Or should we, cook again for him? No, you want to fast, cook for yourself. If you fast, keep your food for yourself. For the journey. Because it's a concession. I'm taking the concession. If you don't want to take the concession, fair enough. But don't make me your servant. And don't feel bad if I didn't serve you because you are fasting. Do you understand me? Don't feel bad that I have to cook for you, because no, you can't be. That's why the Prophet said he doesn't want in the journey people who are fasting to be a burden on the ones who are not fasting. Right, so who's better? The better the one, as I said. The better is the one, if he finds the strength to fast, it's better for him to fast. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ fasted. He only broke his fast because of the people who really were tired. So it's better to fast. But if for any reason, that because of harm or that, take a concession straight away. There was a person that asked me, I am going to such and such place, and which is further away for the place, to fast, and and then Taraweeh prayer. There's no masjid around me to make Taraweeh prayer. Is it permissible that what am I going to do with Taraweeh? I said, if you don't find a masjid, you don't have to do Taraweeh. You can just pray your witr at home. Taraweeh is a voluntary. But I'm asking now about the fast. Because he just embedded the fast and he was quiet. I said, fast, I want to ask about the fast. He kept going back to the prayer. I said, the prayer, you don't need to have Taraweeh. Pray at home with it. But the fast, tell me about it. What are you going to do with it? So I'm on a journey, I'm making a concession. I said, okay. He said, allowed, of course it's allowed, but are you thinking to make that concession so that you could push the days of yours into December? He said, yes. Do you understand me? He wants to make the day half a day. I said, well, I'll tell you inshallah. If I have a paper, written one, I want to make sure that from the angel of death, saying that you're going to live to that time, I'll say to you, mashallah, no problem. You can't live to that time, I can't give you a guarantee of it. How can I? You're already thinking, pre-planning. This is a travel, and he's not traveling while he's walking. No, he's in a place with his traveling. So he's sitting home and everything, okay. But he wants to push the days of Ramadan into where? December. You can't have a guarantee. You don't have a guarantee. وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَجَنَّةٍ عَرْضُهَا كَعَرْضِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. You have to hasten to the forgiveness of Allah. You cannot just say, I'll leave it. What time is the adhan? Now, I think, isn't it? Yes? So make the adhan, inshallah, make the prayer. I think the adhan is now.
It's 8:30.
Okay, so it's just 2 minutes past.